So I don't want to be melodramatic, but that warning was given for a reason. And because of the way YouTube works, I'll try to be very, very careful with the language. So if you want a more graphic or more direct, blunt approach, just go to Shannon's YouTube channel and or DOA, because DOA has touched on the subject numerous times, and I've done numerous videos. What we're getting is basically short clips of this larger interview where DOA and Shannon go through the Louis Repetto scandal that broke out in early to summer of last year, 2024. So apologies to the old subscribers. They probably know the basic gist, but there are a few more interesting details that were offered up that are worth reviewing. And again, I know preemptively I'm going to have to respond to this. That isn't it clickbait to put Aaron's name in the video? The answer is no, because again, Aaron is not right. I want to be very clear. He's not the main direct villain here. However, he does play a critical role. Aaron doesn't really deny he played a critical role. In fact, he tries to revise history and say he was actually doing the right thing. But if you look carefully through the record we have from various testimonies, he was not a good guy at all. So let us get to it. So what essentially happened in the summer of 2024? And for the purposes of this video, I am totally neutral here. I do know some people in the situation indirectly, but I have no direct knowledge nor direct connection to the various parties. And I will try to be fair to Lewis, who says this is all kind of a OSA Scientology kind of frame-up. That is his story, that he's being framed. All right, so essentially what happened is various people were victimized, and the numbers range. Some put it at dozens of people. Again, it's a pretty high number that Luis and his then girlfriend, I don't know what his status is now, were, well, acting in a very criminal manner with other activists. And it was persistent. It was happening over and over again. And again, some women are accusing him of physical violence. So again, it's YouTube, to be very careful with language. And again, like I said, if you want more graphic detail, just go to Shannon's YouTube channel. So these are the accusations. And there's no nice way of putting it. Basically, there was a cover-up. So apparently a lot of the SPTV people who knew Lewis and knew his tendencies and his past were vouchsafing for him and actually defending him for a while, for months and months. But then it became too much of a big scandal, and they shifted gears, and they wanted to, quote, publicize the accusations, but do it in a way that basically left SPTV safe and Aaron safe. So Shannon provides a few more details on the timeline. And this is how I understand it, and Shannon can in the comments fact correct. And again, just note on policy, if your comments don't show up, it's not necessarily me deleting comments. YouTube will filter comments, but I will try to keep that available if you want to comments. I'm also on Twitter, so if you want to put a comment on Twitter, I will be happy to try to put it here. Anyway, okay. So the way she recalls it, these various incidents happened. She and Mandy, because Mandy and her did a video together, so I think it's safe to use her name. So Mandy and Shannon were gathering a lot of the information, as well as Pearl Snappy. And on June 20th, she had a phone call with Aaron and pleaded with Aaron to basically broadcast the accusations to at least alert people that Luis could be dangerous. And that did not go very well. And although Aaron pushes back on a few details, he doesn't deny the phone call happened, or even the plea happened that he used his channel to basically warn the victims and other people, but he tries to revise what the intention was, namely that he's not here to do propaganda, etc., etc. I've covered Aaron's positions. They're very hard to decipher. He's taken really... And again, the videos that Shannon and DOA show do demonstrate he's lying. So either he did know and covered it up. So the June 20th call didn't go well. And then June 21st, they decide to try to share the news with other people. And they finally decide on Liz Ferris. And again, as Shannon notes, this is very reluctant because she didn't really know Liz Ferris. So she was very distrustful of all the SPTV people, especially a few people. And if you want to become a channel member, we'll get into the more of the juicy details. Although, again, I'm not a heartless capitalist. I think you can kind of guess who Shannon did not trust at that time. I think it's fairly obvious. I've done a lot of videos exposing this person. So kind of obvious. But if you want more juicy details, just become a channel member. We'll go through the ugly details of the whole thing. In any case, so Liz Ferris shares the essential information, and this is where it gets really weird. Aaron was in Liz Ferris's chat asking that Liz give more information, basically give the whole thing and not dole out the information carefully, even though that's what the victims wanted. Now, this is strange because Aaron had the conversation with Shannon, so he definitely knew they were talking about Lewis. So if he wanted to give the name or whatever, he could have done it on his own. And don't say, well, you know, Aaron is very careful with. No, he's not. No, he's not. He repeatedly gives out private information. He doxes people routinely. He is not careful, respectful of private information. He will gladly give out your personal private information. He does not care. Even if it violates policy, he does not care. So it can't be that, well, he's just concerned with private. No, he's not. No, he's not. So for whatever reason, he just pretended to be ignorant that Liz was talking about Luis, and Liz, good on her, pushed back saying, I love you, Aaron. You're a fantastic guy. Yeah, I know. It's very weird. Last year, he was still a fantastic guy, but it is what it is. She complimented Aaron, but said, no, I can't give out that info. And then Shannon speculated, which turned out to be true, and this is what happened on June 22nd, is that Natalie Webster, right, I think her channel is Life After the Cult, being that she's in the Aaron cult, she hasn't moved on from the cult. Anyway, on June 22nd, she did give out more explicit information and talked about Lewis very explicitly. But the way she did it was sort of just giving a kind of a very mild warning, saying, just be careful of Lewis, and basically shut it down, saying, okay, well, we're done. We gave out the information. It's time to move on. And there you go. So, well, Shannon was disturbed at two things. One is that, unlike Liz, she knew Natalie, and Natalie knew her. So if Natalie wanted to reach out and get more information, or at least approval from Shannon, she didn't do that. And apparently, since that time, June 22nd, Natalie has never communicated with Shannon, pretending to be radio silent for whatever reason. So Shannon was not very pleased because it was clear that they were going to try to manage the information in a certain way to basically, yes, confess something bad happened, but minimize it and move on and basically not have the scandal reach any further. Now, a lot of this is about Aaron, but it's not only about Aaron. It is about the collective dilemma of SPTV at that time to the present, that it's just very corrupt. It's become a very corrupt clique. And the ex-Scientologists are on the top of the pyramid, and they want to control a lot of information and control a lot of people. And so this scandal would really shock a lot of their supporters as well as outsiders. And is it just a complete scam, right? They will fight Scientology here and there some of the time, but depending on the issue or victim or person, they don't care. They either don't care or even will collaborate with Scientology. And if you think that's a wild or very alarming, that is not an accusation. It is a fact. And it even happened in real life. So let me just give one very explicit case where with Doug Scott Kramer, rest in peace, Aaron and Jeffrey Augustine put out a hit piece because Doug was questioning some of the tactics and past of Karen Delacare. And Doug acknowledged that he knew this was going to happen, that they were going to just try to destroy his reputation, accuse him of being an OSA agent, and use every Scientology tactic in the book, and basically expose him to being attacked by Scientology, and they were not going to protect him anymore. And he understood all this. He knew that telling too much of the truth was going to basically trigger this kind of very controlled opposition within SPTV. Remember, Doug was officially a part of SPTV too. He didn't use it too much, but he did use the logo. And there we are. So it is a very ugly, dirty business. I have my own criticisms of Doug. He's not a perfect God man. He sometimes got into moods, and he didn't always live up to his own values. But I'd have to say, on the whole, he's probably the most consistent, honest of the SPTV people by far. He's not the greatest, quote, hero of ex-Scientology and so on and so forth. He was very clear that he was very humble, that he made mistakes and was improving. So this was probably the last person you'd accuse of being OSA, but Aaron freely did that they were distrustful of Doug for telling the truth. Like, nothing he said was not factual or even slanderous. It was just he wasn't obeying the ranking system where Aaron, Karen, Jeffrey, and now apparently Natalie and Jenna are on top, and you obey the top people or you will be dealt with and sanctioned. And they will freely use Scientology propaganda and its agents against you because they don't like you anymore because you question the top people. Depending on the case, they will not only not doing anti-Scientology, sorry for that very weird verbalization, they will be pro-Scientology and even defend Scientology against you because reasons. In fact, they just did this recently where Aaron was happy as a clam that DOA was getting arrested. Listen, I have my issues with DOA, but I think it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that the LAPD is very corrupt and very pro-Scientology, right? That's just a fact, that the LAPD at this point cannot be trusted. It is very thoroughly corrupt. But here was Aaron, just an enemy of his, was being arrested. Okay, that's nice, but what about the corruption of the LAPD? Well, he'll deal with it here and there. He'll deal with the corruption of the Clearwater Police too, here and there, but again, it has to align with his interests. And Lewis did not align with his interests because it showed him to be a very heartless, very opportunistic, cynical grifter. So Louis has to go away, and the scandal has to go away, and has to be covered up. He will talk about it here and there, but talk about it as him being a hero. And I think Shannon is telling the truth. Yeah, that hero persona is just what it is. It's a persona, it's not the truth. There's a lot more to be said about Lewis. I will try to cover it here in other videos. Thank you for listening. Please support the channel if you can. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and please give my other channels a chance. Thank you for listening.